Hello and namaste friends. My name is Dinesh Sharma and today we are going to start a series of tutorials on this channel. In this series, we are going to talk primarily about the philosophy and practice of Hinduism, but to facilitate its overall understanding, I think we need to have a good idea about religion as a whole. I mean, not any particular religion, but just religion in general. Once we know what religion is all about, we can get down to the nitty-gritty of Hinduism. I am a doctor by profession and have authored several books, including this one. Below in the description to this and every tutorial in this series, you will find a link to download this book free of charge. I have spent over 30 years on exhaustive study and intense analysis of spiritualism and comparative religion. You must be wondering, in this entertainment-oriented world, why I am visiting a serious topic like religion. Well, there are a couple of good reasons for it. For one thing, I have discovered that surprisingly few Hindus know as much about their religion as they should. This lack of awareness, not only of its profound philosophy, but even of its simplest basics, is in fact so widespread that it is shocking. I strongly believe that we must do everything to remove this ignorance, not only because the Hindus deserve to know their rich cultural heritage, but also because this ignorance has often been exploited by Hinduism's opponents to the detriment of Hinduism and its followers. Another reason, which is equally important, is that I have come across some wonderful discoveries during my interactions with religion in general and Hinduism in particular. They have given me some remarkable insights and unique perspectives, which are so incredible that I feel absolutely compelled to share with you. You might be one of those who think they know enough about religion, but the purpose of this tutorial is not only that you should know, but that you know it well and understand its finer points. I am hoping that by the end of this tutorial, your brain will be buzzing with new ideas and new perspectives. Many things that you never thought or even considered before. Well, let's move on to our main topic, which is religion. So, what is religion? Different dictionaries have defined religion in different ways. But the essential idea is that it is a set of beliefs and practices concerning God or similarly divine, superhuman powers, or agencies. Personally, I have problems with the word belief because wouldn't you much rather see facts and logic, or at least some common sense, in relation to a matter of such overriding importance than just faith and belief? Anyway, we will deal with this angle a little later. For now, let me get back to what religion is. By common consensus, a religion typically is supposed to have two vital components. The first is its core, or its central idea. Since a religion is meant to deal primarily with superhuman powers or agencies, as stated in our definition, the ideas or notions of how a religion understands and relates to them forms the most crucial, some will say indispensable, component of religion. This core of a religion is also called its spirituality or philosophy or metaphysics. The second component of religion consists of its externalities. I am referring here to the visible features or the identifiable face of a religion. Such features include its doctrines, its places and modes of worship, its rituals, and other socio-cultural paraphernalia that develops around it. In an ideal scenario, while the externalities represent the practice of a religion, its philosophy or spirituality forms the basis of such practice. Logically speaking, this philosophy or spirituality should form the most important component of every religion. Otherwise, a religion would be no better than a successful street gang, hopefully a nice one. To understand properly what I just stated, we need to dig a little bit deeper. To start with, let's consider why, after all, do we humans ever even need religion? In other words, why do we have to be concerned with God or any divinities at all? If it is a compelling question, the answer is even more so. Homo sapiens are perhaps the most intelligent creatures on earth. They have been around only about 150 years or so, but already sit on the top of its food chain. But there is another side to the coin. The human beings may be very smart, but the masters of their universe they are not. Very soon after his arrival on the scene, man discovered that his mental and physical capabilities, while substantial to be sure, could not carry him very far in understanding his own universe. Too many things in his life and world he did not know or understand, much less control. Unexpected and devastating catastrophes came his way all the time, and he seemed powerless to do anything about them. Not knowing what to do, he was bewildered and perhaps scared. His helplessness and inadequacies constantly bothered him. While he did what he could to deal with his immediate problems, his mind wandered around the deeper issues of his existence. Such questions, as I will mention just now, starting to churn around in his mind. Who are we? What are we? Who created this universe? Where do we come from? Why do we die? What happens after death? Is there an unseen power that controls our world? If yes, what is its nature? What can we do to find favor with it? Surely there could be no straightforward or obvious answers to such questions. He wasn't, however, going to sit around. He started looking, and with time, some answers started flowing through, leading eventually to man's discoveries of science as well as religion. But we need to notice something. Science and simple observation, while they would answer some questions, they cannot answer them all, because the kind of information they come up with is seriously constrained by the capabilities of man's own physical senses, brain and intellect, which we know are gridlocked by critical and absolute limitations. This is exactly what happened. These questions, rather otherworldly as they are, were beyond the reach of man's physical and intellectual abilities, and therefore science. He needed something more. He needed something extraordinary, indeed superhuman or supernormal. But where was this something supernormal or superhuman going to come from? Well, this is where religion comes in. The story of man's exploration into the supernatural or superhuman world is extremely fascinating. and we will go into it in great detail. But to comprehend it fully, we need to first look at what tools the humans normally employ to gather and process information and thus obtain knowledge. And then we will examine as to how the humans bypassed them and went beyond into the supernormal or superhuman dimension. So let's talk about information gathering by the humans. There are four major tools that we humans normally employ to obtain any information or otherwise get a handle on things in everyday life. Number one, actual experience or direct evidence. It is said that seeing is believing. The fact is that nothing convinces us of something's existence more than actually experiencing it with our own physical senses. Thus, the chair I am sitting on has four legs because I have seen them. And I know the stereo is playing because I can hear it. I know my desk is smooth because I can feel it. This direct perception is not always accurate, and our senses can be fooled. But most of us view this as our most consistently reliable tool of information gathering, and with good reason. Number two, inference or circumstantial evidence. When direct sensory perception is not available, we aren't entirely without recourse. Previous experience, common sense, and or thoughtful analysis of available clues, that is using our brain, can provide to us a varying degree of insight regarding an object or occurrence. We all depend on this recourse to some extent in everyday life. An example is our acceptance of news items from the newspaper of events that are taking place thousands of miles away. We accept with great certainty that the Eiffel Tower is located in Paris and the Taj Mahal in Agra, although we may have seen neither. Similarly, we reach a door that we have never opened before. We still turn the doorknob, because our mind has inferred from past experience that turning it would open the door. Many scientific hypotheses like Big Bang and the continental drift theory are the products of such inference. So is much of the ancient history. Since the evidence in this case is not direct, it is susceptible to much greater fallibility. For it to be credible, inference needs to be not only rational, but also to have a ring of reality about it. At a very minimum, it must not contradict common sense or be blatantly conjectural. Let's go to the third tool of information, which is intuition or gut feeling. This is an insight or an innate impulse which is often based on an intangible and inexplicable inner or gut feeling. Here we instinctively believe something to be true without any obvious reason of proof or inference. People also call it sixth sense or premonition. It can be amazingly accurate at times, but in the end, it must be thought of more as a mere feeling than a certainty. since it is arrived at without support from any concrete data, rational analysis, or relatable experience. We come to number 4, which is belief or faith. These two words, by their very definition, presume a lack of verifiability based on evidence or logical deduction. One may believe something perhaps because a respected figure said it, or because a certain book lays claim to it, or because one grew up with it. People often confuse belief with inference. The main difference lies in the fact that inference implies some basis in fact or logic, whereas belief does not. As a true source of knowledge, belief leaves much to be desired, but I am including it in this particular list because millions and millions of people in this world, for better or for worse, subscribe to belief as truth. So let us look at what we have learned so far. All human beings are equipped with 4 devices we mentioned above and use them on a regular basis to learn and be informed. But I would like to emphasize something here. Tools 1 and 2, actual experience and inference. They rely primarily on our sense of perception and mental abilities. They may not be perfect, but they are our most reliable tools of information gathering, and we trust them most days and under most normal circumstances. There is a problem, however. Their usefulness is limited to the physical world. And the unanswered question that humans have been asking all along do not necessarily belong to the physical world, as you have already seen it. They are actually rather otherworldly. Won't you agree with it? Well, here is that list again. You will say, oh, but we still have tools 3 and 4. So let us look at them. Tool 3 is intuition, which is almost paranormal, but its existence is more of a fortuitous than certifiable validity. In any case, it can never have more than a hit or miss kind of reliability. Tool 4, well, the line separating faith or belief from superstition is so exceedingly thin that a rational or scientific person would never find them as acceptable substitutes for truth. The things don't look so good, do they? Well, the last 2 tools of information gathering are not sufficiently reliable. The other 2 are, while passably reliable, simply not efficient enough to unlock the door to the mysteries of the universe that actually challenged and tormented our ancient forefathers. What then could the humans do? How could they surmount their physical limitations and inadequacies and connect with the world of the superpower or superpowers that transcended their physical world but may have had the answers to all their problems? We will deal with these questions in the next tutorial, which should appear within the next 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to click on the subscribe and the thumbs up buttons if you have found this video useful.